Africa needs for sustainable growth is a steady supply of electricity. According to new data analysis, Eskom has been declared the world's worst polluter in the energy space from the Centre for Research on Energy and Clean Air. The data comes from the previous financial year and shows that Eskom causes more air contamination than energy sectors in China, Europe and the United States, especially in terms of sulfur dioxide emissions. With plenty of coal power stations still in its arsenal, Eskom says it would cost over 40 billion rand to install desulfurization technology on just one of its plants. Eskom has promised to reach net zero emissions by the year 2050. Well, we have to talk about sustainable growth in that steady supply of electricity, and with access to accessible land reaching capacity, power producers are looking for alternative spaces for electricity infrastructure. And one major solar power player is eyeing the oceans to help South Africa to keep the lights on. Pilan Energy Group has unveiled plans for new floating solar panels. To tell us more about it, we're joined by Zirk Botha. He's the country manager for Solar Capital, a subsidiary of Pilan Energy Group. Thanks so much for joining us, Zirk. How do floating solar panels actually work?
Good morning. Very exciting to join you, and also very excited to be part of such an innovative development and leading the changes in the industry. So yeah, I think as you mentioned, the big thing about floating solar is that we need such a lot of energy to be generated from renewables, and being able to put floats on big water masses, including the ocean, really is a game changer. And where our innovation really is different from previous floating solar developments is that the trend in the past has been to take a mounting rack, the same as being used for ground-mounted solar developments, and just put them on floats. Our development looks at using the floats in itself, and the float itself being the structure for the panels to be fitted on. So it's definitely a big game changer. It will have cost implications. And what's very exciting for us, obviously, is also the sustainable development aspects and the fact that it is environmentally such a good solution.
In terms of sustainability, I take it that there are large amounts of plastic that are used to float the panels on. Are those biodegradable? What happens to them when they time out?
Yeah, so part of the plan is that after the project life cycle, which for utility scale projects are around 20 years, the plastic will be recycled. I think we have to be aware of the fact that plastics in itself are not bad. It's when it's single-use plastics and then we get the human element in it. So when we have plastics like this that are used responsibly, and that are recycled and repurposed at the end of the life cycle, that's a completely different approach to the problems that we have with plastic pollution.
In terms of government buy-in, which governments around the world are you getting the most positive responses from? And where do you sit in terms of South Africa's procurement of renewables?
So internationally, floating solar is definitely it's very new in this format. Europe is leading the charge. We've got some projects that we're looking at rolling out in Europe, and you know, this specific concept has been launched very recently. So we are intending to approach our governmental bodies to look at how we can purpose this in South Africa. Our current developments in South Africa has been ground-mounted. Our current development that's under construction at Lourisfontein is should be at commercial operation date in the first quarter of 2022. So we have been involved in this field and the industry since the start of the Renewable Energy Independent Power Producers Program in South Africa. So Solar Capital, as a member of the Pilan Energy Group, have been involved with this intensively since the early days of the IPP program in Southern Africa.
One last question. In terms of cost, when you look at coal and nuclear, how does floating solar water panels compare?
It's very, very competitive. It really is a game changer. You know, the tariffs that have been tendered during the recent RFP rounds, the most recent one being bid round 5, we don't know what those are, but indications are that they are going to be very low. But this, with taking floating solar, it will reduce your costs another 10 to potentially 15% because of the change in the mounting structures, which also impacts on the civils and the electrical works that are associated with the project. So it will definitely be a big game changer in the industry.
All right, good luck to you. That's Zirk Botha. He's the country manager for Solar Capital, a subsidiary of the Pelan Energy Group. We're going to